Good evening, everyone. IPTSE Academy is overwhelmed to receive Dr. Mohit Gambhir. So this academy is the one that administers annual proctored examination on intellectual property. This entire crew of IPTSE is really overwhelmed to have you, Dr. Mohit, with us. Well, I'll just say a few words about you. You are a true inspiration for many of us, and I have been one of the secret admirer of you as one of the mentors in IP, as I've seen you very passionate on this subject all the time, and your impeccable energy is something that keeps boosting all of us. Although you don't need any sort of introductions, but let me attempt to introduce you very briefly for the benefit of everyone. So Dr. Gambhir is working as an innovation director at Ministry of Education, Innovation Cell, Government of India. Although he's running lots of initiatives to boost domestic innovations, one such initiative that definitely needs a mention is Government of India's flagship program known as Smart India Hackathon. He has been one of the chairpersons, and this entire program has been also running under his leadership. Dr. Gambhir belongs to one of the first breeds of techno-legal professionals. By qualification, he has a PhD in computer engineering. He also has an LLB with specialization in IPR. And let me tell you that at least in our country, there are very few people who have received or who have achieved epitome of education very much in the field of intellectual property, and he's one amongst all of those. So welcome you. Verispire is one of the latest venture by Dr. Mohit, and which is engaged in creating valuable business assets for many, where this particular initiative helps startups, innovators in protecting their IP rights, also provide them with a lot of customized solutions. So with this, Dr. Mohit, I welcome you.
Yep. Thank you so much, Sheetal, and thank you so much for such an elaborated introduction. Though I don't need so, and it is indeed, and I must say rather you are also in the same boat, and I must appreciate that like the epitome of study in the very similar manner. Just like you, I try to do my bit. I did somehow, and overall, yes, IP is something which I love to live. That's what I say. It's just like a single sentence. It is something which I want to spend my every minute counting in, and that's I believe is my true introduction.
Absolutely. There you go. So I'll start with a question, Dr. Mohit. In fact, there are 5 to 6 questions that we've received from academia, from industry. So I think this is going to be super lightning, vibrant discussion. Let's try to make it that way. So Mohit, tell us about your early days when you were a child, you were a student, you were in college. How did this entire IP happen to you?
Oh, wow. So now here you go. You just caught me with something, So I have to be like open book, and I tell to everyone, the students, and even in my peer group, wherever I interact, I go by the very same thought that every individual, every life form is kind of born innovator. We carry that IP thingy with us every time. It is just the spark. It is just the ignition that when we get to know that, yes, this is known as IP. Every one of us, whosoever are there, even school kids, today's and even nowadays, we may say wonder kids, everybody is thinking aloud, but they don't know that it is known as IP, which our system, our social scenario over the course of period tells them that, yes, it is known as IP, right? And as far as my personal, status goes, I still remember I was in school. I used to write a diary, and write a diary. By a diary, I mean I used to draw some sketches. Today we known as design drawings. I used to put in some pointers. Today we known as claims. And that was when I was in 5th, 6th, 7th grade. I used to put up some notes, and those were key pointers. Uh, People used to tell me a daydreamer, and that's now again I generally tell everybody, be a daydreamer, have that kind of thought process, be a kind of rebellion in your thought process, challenge what is going around, and try to visualize which is not there. And so that's how it goes. It moved on, and during my engineering days as well. So the true interaction or my entanglement with IP happened when I read an article in 97. Frankly, it was 96, 97. I was doing my engineering, and there I came across, yes, something is there which is known as IP. And but the curiosity is, I went through that, what is this C circle is known as. From there I came to know, okay, this is copyright. And then I moved on. I From my own sense, I searched on. Irony was, I was not able to locate some direction in my peer group or in my whole circle, that how to move into the direction of pursue IP as a career. So but later on, then as the destiny has its role to play, I moved on, did my masters, joined research lab, government's research lab. I was at CDAC, and there again it helped me a lot in grooming my skills in IP. There again, I got stuck with IP in a manner that I understood, this is something which is my choice, this is something which I want to live in day out. And then rest is story. I moved on 2005, genuinely got trained myself in IP 2005 till 2021. It's been 16 hell lot of years working in all the nook and corner space of IP. I'm there. So that is my whole IP journey.
Very nice. So it almost looks like that the destiny wanted you to be here, right? So
Yeah.
I think हमारे टाइम में ये होता था कि कोई ऐसा formal education नहीं था कि कोई courses होते हो या where one could actually learn about it. I think the blessing with us was that we all learned it on job. So वो जब एक experience on job जब आता, I think that shines you better than just reading and then having a theoretical knowledge. So good to know that you also learned it all on job, and then you also started to now train so many people. Okay, thank you so much for that introduction. Okay, now let's move on to some questions that as IPTSE Academy we all received from a lot of people. So first is about the new education policy. This is doing lots of rounds. What do you think will be the impact of adoption of this new policy in promoting, creating, and commercializing IP, both in India and abroad? And are there any specific programs already running for the same after the event of that this was rolled out?
Right. Thanks, Sheetal. NEP is something which is creating a lot of buzz, and it was long due. Since so many years, the kind of study, the rote learning kind of mechanism we had, like we faced everything, and frankly, even if we say different kind of boards or curriculum we send our kids in, and that's the reason parents nowadays, we ourselves, I am father of two lovely daughters, so even I'm saying, as in parents, they started exploring that instead of having this rote learning, can we get something to our kids whereby they can explore more? And ultimately, I'm really happy, and it is a delightful treat that NEP is happening after so many years, which was long due. And in NEP, as being said, a lot of discussion, I'm sure audiences must have heard. We have NRF as one of the pillar, National Research Foundation, which is going to be established, which is already, the process is already started on. Research fund in tune of some 50K crores, humongous. That is just like in line with NSF, National Science Foundation, we have in Western world. On the similar lines, we have, and with IP focused, we are trying that even in PhDs, people, they are doing applied sciences PhDs and other stuff, but we say papers must be published. Now we have moved on, and we are encouraging patents must be filed. And you must one thing to share, even UGC is working on a thing that whosoever is doing PhD, forget about management and arts, because they have a different form of IP coming up, but wherever it is an applied stuff, they should come up with one or the other patents or patent filing or IP generation in form of which can be commercialized. Just like we see, if we go to Western countries or even in China and other countries, many PhD theses, they are converted into companies. And if we come to our countries, seldom people they experiment. They just do for the thought of, for the sake of publishing and winding up their thesis. Now, this is something which we want to encourage. We want to motivate people to come up with meaningful research, because 3-4 years they are putting in doing some research. So that is what we are trying. And under NEP, I'm sure this is going and bound to happen. System has the overall atmosphere is being created like that.
Okay. I think this gives me a very good segue into the very next question. So, Dr. Mohit, I mean, we all know that the kind of efforts and the R&D that is happening at the institution level, at the academic institutes, and then the kind of efforts that we all do in R&D at the industry, they may not most of the times match, because maybe there is no pre-planning in terms of which sort of, let's say, project should be funded, whether it is aligned to industry best practices or not. So the next question is that, are there any specific programs of Ministry of Education for promoting such industry and institute partnership, for opening up, let's say, collaborative research centers? क्योंकि अभी क्या हो रहा है, अभी सब isolation में हो रहा है, इंडस्ट्री में अलग से R&D होता है, इंस्टीट्यूट में अलग से होता है. Can there be something that they have a collaboration and we have such collaborative research centers by MOE maybe? And is there anything planned in the new education policy? Over to you.
Right. Again, this is a right time question, Sheetal. The one thing which I'm saying that, NEP, yes, there are a lot of provisions, but another very interesting thing which AICT has brought in recently, it is known as Idea Labs. And there we are promoting in a true sense that industry should come up with academia, join hands. We are asking institutions that with what kind of industry, which industry support they have, and these Idea Lab concept is being devised. Now, these Idea Labs, what is they are going to happen, that students, they should come to these labs somewhere around 24/7. We are expecting these labs to open, and it should supplement their general curriculum, like technology curriculum, or engineering curriculum. So it is an experiment which we are starting with the engineering education primarily, and that's the reason I said it's AICT's Idea Labs. Other way, we say a dedicated center. We encourage institutions to establish under PPP mode, whereby we are the facilitators. We encourage them. And a lot of other programs from government and different ministries are there, which provide funds. Like we have TBIs, we have incubation centers where all industries are invited. They are being made part of it. But from our end, we are in a way, the catalysts. We are channelizing these things as such under, if we say, AICT's or Ministry of Education's and dedicated centers. No, we always want to collaborate. We always say that it has to be entangled, and handshake must happen with industry and academia. Another thing I would like to highlight, like you said, there is a huge gap between, if we say, industry research, academia research. I personally believe there has to have a level of research in academia that industry should approach in academia and ask that what new is going in your lab, so that can be commercialized and taken to the ground. That must happen. We should see something like that happen. And I'm sure the way we are moving, it will take another 4, 5, 6 years, maybe, what I'm envisioning. But I believe it must happen just like all other schemes that we vision for 5 years and it happens in 1 year. In a very similar manner, I believe if we are, envisioning that this is going to take 5 years, but it must happen in 1 year, but it will be a great thing to happen in our country.
Yeah, I know. I think it is really good, because if you really look at and I was speaking with some of the industry folks in the morning, and they mentioned that when it comes to IITs, when it comes to some really premier institutions, they have their in-house IP policy. They've got all bandwidth to work with the industry to set the terms and conditions. But when it really comes to tier 2, tier 3, they may not be as equipped. So what is it that MOE has been doing or wishes to do in order to have them at par with these premier institutions when it comes to IP? Because I'm sure even the innovation is coming from these tier 2, tier 3 universities as well, the technical ones. What do you say about that?
Yes. Yeah. It's humongous, frankly speaking, and they are the lot, I believe, which were left out initially. But now, when we hang around, we move, we tap the trying to tap them up. You'll be surprised to know the kind of zeal, the kind of innovations which are coming up from these 2, 3 colleges. So what we have done from MOEs and MOEs innovation cells in, as a first step, we are trying to establish a culture, and by culture I mean we also rolled up one policy which is known as National Innovation and Startup Policy. Under that, we are covering IP policy as in one head, not as in a dedicated policy, I mean, but as IP as one head. And here we are trying to encourage those students, not only students, even faculty members who want to do they want to set up their startup, or they want to come up with some novel ideas, new things. We are encouraging them. We have listed down, various formats, and we are after lives of everyone, frankly, top to bottom, left to right in the country. Lot of institutions, they have already implemented it. We are even in during these pandemic times, every day we are running in through calls and telling the vice chancellors and directors and whatnot to get this policy implemented. It has a lot of advantage, and we are requesting institution to park 2% of their overall budgeted fund towards this way, to nurture the startups, to nurture the innovation culture, be it in IP, be it the establishment of new startup, be it the generation of more and more internship opportunities for the students, be it the tie-ups, along with providing some kind of attendance benefits, some kind of budgetary benefits, leave benefits to faculty members as well. So, but all under the purview of the basic essence of their prime job, that is for faculty is to teach and research, for student is to study. So it should not be hampered, but along supplementing it, we are trying to establish this kind of culture across the horizon. It's be it any kind of, not only technology, arts, sciences, commerce, every kind of university or college, we are trying to come up with that policy.
Okay. This is super nice. I mean, this number of 2%, and I remember when the new corporate policy also came up, it actually pushed a lot of corporates to give back in the form of CSR, 2% of their total turnover, and similar such things. And I now see that it is being adopted, where a push is there that you have to put this 2%. Is there some kind of a guideline already out there, or is it university by university that you are pursuing it?
No, what we have done is a standard NISP has been rolled up, NISP 2020. It is available on our website, and we have a dedicated portal. What we have done is we have laid down a framework, and under that framework we have we are allowing universities, because institution to institution things varies, right? And we have allowed them with a kind of their own things. They can come up, they can supplement, they can reduce, they can adjust, but under the purview of that particular framework. They are not permitted to go beyond or change the basic sanctity of the document or the policy. So they have to work under that purview. Like 2%, I said, so they cannot do away with this kind of things. Like if we said, if some startup is coming in and IP of an institution is being used by that particular startup, so what kind of equity sharing mechanism can happen? So what we have done is we have provided the range, like it can be from 2% to 9%, but on what conditions we have listed down, so that it should not hit. Because we understand, as in I have come from the startup culture, if somebody comes in and asks some equity in my company, it hurts. It's just like somebody is asking me my body part, and that's what and a founder or a guy who is starting up with company always feels like. So we are teaching or telling people that what is the time as well to do away with the thing you are working on. So everything we are trying to nurture and create that kind of culture we are trying to create.
Yeah, very well said. I think when something you develop on your own and you have to really share it apart with someone, it really good point. So I think let's go on to the next question as well. And this is very much linked to your initial remarks, where you said that you are pushing a lot of universities right from the top to the bottom level, that you publish more in terms of patents and in terms of the applications before you actually give it to the journals. So given that we see that there is a lot of more focus still on publications in the institutes, for all that promotions. They want peer-reviewed journals carrying their IP related research. Are there any specific initiatives by MOE, by Ministry of Education, in promoting patenting over publication at these educational institutions?
Right. See, there is already some provision in CAS promotions. If you look in the rules, there is some provisions. But again, rightly pointed out, we need to educate our educators as well, our administrators in a way, the people who are heading the institutions, who are the vice chancellors and the directors who are dealing with day in, day out of promotion committees. One thing I would also like to highlight here, Sheetal, and this is a very, very candid talk that has nothing to do with the government or something. As in person, I believe the habit which all of us have, we have to move out of it. We should not locate the shortcuts for our research. We should not look something. You will be surprised, and being an IP lawyer or a consultant itself, you will agree with me, because both of us are in from the same domain. I have seen a thing. There an application is being filed. A person belongs to an institute A with an inventor of B, C, D, E, F, G, Y, Z, and they are not related at all. They cannot prove that they are at all related. And to the surprising factor, they are not at all even aware of the legalities, that they are signing something that I am the true inventor of the innovation which is being presented. Now imagine later on, if something it goes into litigation, what will happen to these so-called prolific inventors? So now again, I'm trying to say these are small nitty-gritties where people find it much easy that let us publish a paper and move on. On the hindsight, they believe now education in IP is lacking, which we are trying to do from MOE's end. Why, how, and what benefit it is going to provide you, not only you, to the country as well. By you, I means the fraternity or the researchers who are sitting down there, and ultimately the boost up the country's economy. So we are trying to build that kind of ecosystem from our end.
Yeah, very well said. And while you were mentioning about this important example, I also saw a comment from Dr. B.K. Sahu from our NRDC, as he's also watching it live. Okay. And we had interviewed him last week. And he mentions that what is required is the entire mindset change. अगर एक बार mind में आ गया कि आपको create करना है और आपको IP respect करना है, I think half of the work is already done. So yes, mindset change is definitely required, and Ministry of Education is really doing its whole own efforts to make that happen. So my next question therefore is, and of course, as a course coordinator of this intellectual property talent search examination sort of IP Olympiad, I myself have started to work with a lot of students, and I feel so overwhelmed, Dr. Mohit, to see that they are super sharp students. They keep telling me, okay, this is how we can do social media posts, this is how we can create digital content, and they really come up with new reels, new videos. But unfortunately, when I tell them that, okay, this is your IP, do you know, and that's where there is a lag. And when they learn about this examination, that's how they are now able to relate. But then yes, there is a lot of gap. So my question to you is then, are there any specific initiatives by your ministry to boost that startup ecosystem at the level of youngsters? Because उनके पास idea बहुत है, लेकिन वो फिर भी ना, they always keep thinking about हमें job क्या मिलेगा. They are job seekers rather than job creators. So what is your view, your message to the young people over there?
So I would like to answer it in 2 points. Like I would like to bifurcate the question, and I was expecting that you're going to put in maybe your next question may be like that. I don't know, but I'm just pulling threads much earlier. I was guessing that question would be what kind of IP things we are trying to teach our students so that they get acquainted, and when they come to experts like you, they are aware of that. Yes, it is basic IP. So I would like to chip in here and answer that first, and then the startup one. You will be happy to know, and our audience will be, from our end, we already on SWAYAM for UG, PG, and even for PhD students. We have drafted a very, very wonderful course in IPR. It would be available on SWAYAM, credited course to be rolled up all the colleges across the country through our MOE's Innovation Cells end. We are calling in experts to deliver topic by topic, and I am the coordinator of that course. So I just want people to understand that how this IP thing happened from the morning, the time we wake up, the time we take births, to the time we are here on this planet, how it revolves around. So that is the kind of journey, and we have bifurcated in a manner that for UG how it is is beneficial, their meaningful content, for PG meaningful content, for PhD students we have actually put in that what they need to look in. Now coming up to the your exact question which you asked, startup culture. From innovation cells end, we have lot of initiatives. Like we, as you say, we have established IICs. IICs are institutions innovation councils, which are somewhere around 2,400 in number. As of today, 2,400 we are talking. Every day it is increasing. Now in IICs, what we are trying to do, we are trying to supplement the curriculum of our students with design thinking, cognitive skills, creative thinking, IPRs, entrepreneurship, tech transfers, commercialization, all these kind of supplements, we are capsules we are providing to our students. Committees are established in the colleges, and then through those through that kind of education, we then move on to national innovation contest. Now we are saying it Yukti innovation contest. We ask the institutions to submit their ideas. Whosoever submitting their idea, be it at TRL 1 to TRL 6 and above, we teach these students in boot camps, business canvas, how to think aloud, how to draft the policy, how to draft their budgeting plans, everything. And but so ultimate objective is, Sheetal, I always say everybody cannot be an entrepreneur, but we need to teach so that at least our students become a good entrepreneur as well. They must learn how hard it is to run a company, to establish a company. So we catch them young. By the time they're in second year, we try to inculcate these kind of habits. So by the time they reach fourth year, they understand where they want to head to. That's what we are trying to establish. It may take time, but it's been only 2.5 years we started the journey. Let's see where it leads to.
Great initiatives, Dr. Mohit. I don't know how do you manage so many things.
And then one thing I forgot to mention, Sheetal, again, and you are part of that program, and even Dr. Vijay Sahu as well, Kapila. I believe until unless we mention that program, our discussion will never lead to. That's CLAM program for IP literacy and awareness. To the audience, I wanted to tell, it is a program where we are not running IP awareness programs. We are IP clinics as well with patent office support. Also, we are trying to increase or motivate our people to file more and more IP. Very soon, announcements will be made. We are going to fund, and our target is somewhere around 10,000 patent filing per annum.
Excellent.
Ambitious goal, I know, very ambitious goal. But I always say that when a child comes out of pram, it starts crawling. So we are at the crawling stage. Maybe a year will take, maybe 2 years after we'll start walking. 4 years after we'll start, taking small baby steps. 5th, 6th year after we will understand what this actual filing means. That's what we are trying to build in today.
Absolutely. I think this is the age of artificial intelligence. This baby would soon become an adult. So it will be like super fast. Yeah. So Mohit, I have one more question. It's there on the online views by Pallavi. She's a student from IIT RGIOPL. And she's asking, I think it's a beautiful question and very relevant that she asks. When we were discussing about this question on
yes, I would like to highlight here itself, and I completely understand that. And Sheetal, I must point out, I'm thankful to Miss Bhatia for putting up this question, because I faced this myself. I have 7 patents with me, and when I went there, and I seldom publish papers, and people, they ask me, you don't have any publication, you are not suitable for this kind of professor's job.
मैं एक बार क्वेश्चन बस बताऊंगी ऑडियंस के लिए, those who may not have read it, that it is this equivalence of a publication, how much do you quote it with regard to the number of patents? So that's the question, so that people have incentive to patent rather than publish more. Go ahead.
So my bad, I interrupted because as you pointed out, IP, I always get excited.
Passion. No, go ahead, please. Yes.
So see, it's being written over here, 2 papers and 1 patent. I say no, it is much more than that. Much more than that. You file an application, there are learned examiners, they are experts in the domain. It goes through whole vicious cycle, and after coming up with 1 and 1.5, 2 years of effort, if at all your patent is granted, why not to say it is equivalent to 5 papers? There has to have that kind of thing. There are provisions. I'm saying that it is written in some policy, it is there, but to get it implemented, we are running up, and we are taking those initiatives. Yes, very religiously, this thing should be implemented. And I'm telling you through your show, if it is not there, through our Kapila program, maybe we'll come up with, just like NISP we have done, we'll come up with a standard IPR policy, that what it is, and we'll try to roll it up across the country.
Great. That's the take home
understand. No, I believe people need to understand what it is. Yes, today IP is a costly affair, but why it is costly affair? What kind of neurons are being channelized to generate that IP? Paper publications, yes, you can go for it. You must rather to meet the minimum criteria before even putting up a paper. At least file a provisional application if you believe that there is some meat out of it. That's my take always.
Perfect, Dr. Mohit. And it's already 4:32. I never realized that we had this good 30 minutes already done. But thank you so much. IPTSE Academy is really overwhelmed to receive you today. And we hope to keep receiving you in the future. I know the questions are never ending. IP is a great thing. So we'll have you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sheetal. Thanks to the audience for listening me and facing me. Thank you so much. My pleasure always. Take care.
Thank you. Take